12s, pay very close attention, because some major signs have started to emerge in Seattle all at once. And when you connect all of this information, it feels like the Seahawks are executing a very clear plan to stay on top of the NFL. There is a powerful message surrounding one of the cornerstones of this defense. At the same time, the front office's decision regarding the quarterback reveals exactly how John Schneider intends to keep this roster competitive for years to come. And as if that were not enough, the organization is still keeping an eye on opportunities around the league to add another piece that could make this team even more dangerous. When you look at everything together, it is hard not to believe that Seattle is working to extend its championship window and maybe even build something bigger than anyone expected. So stick with me until the end, because what is happening right now could shape the future of this team. Let's start with Devin Witherspoon, one of the most important players on the entire Seahawks defense and someone who has quickly become one of the faces of the franchise. As of now, Seattle and the star quarterback have not yet reached an agreement on a contract extension. For some fans, that may sound concerning. But when you look at the full picture, this situation feels far more normal than alarming. Early in 2026, John Schneider made a massive move by locking up Jackson Smith-Njigba to a historic contract. After a deal of that magnitude, it was only natural for Witherspoon's camp to pursue an extension that could reset the market at the position. And honestly, Spoon has more than enough leverage to make that case. Witherspoon is not just a great corner. He is an incredibly versatile, aggressive, and instinctive defender. He can lock down receivers on the outside, crash against the run, blitz the quarterback, and line up all over the formation. That makes him a rare weapon. In many ways, he is the emotional spark plug of this defense. His energy is contagious, and it raises the intensity of the entire unit. Stacey Ross of Seattle Sports explained that there are no signs of tension between the two sides. According to her, the negotiation likely comes down to standard details such as guaranteed money, contract structure, and average annual value. That is completely normal when elite players are involved. This is also not the first time Witherspoon and his representatives have shown patience. When he was drafted in 2023, he was one of the last players in his class to sign his rookie deal, with negotiations stretching into the beginning of training camp. In other words, both the player and his camp have already shown they are willing to take their time to secure the terms they believe are fair. Another key factor is that his agent, Reggie Johnson, represents other top defensive backs and closely monitors every shift in the market. The goal is obvious: establish a new salary benchmark for elite corners. And when you look at Witherspoon's impact within Mike Macdonald's system, it becomes easy to understand why Seattle is highly motivated to get this deal done. The defense was one of the biggest reasons the Seahawks captured the title. Down the stretch and throughout the playoffs, this unit played with consistency, physicality, and outstanding adaptability. Macdonald built a modern and highly flexible defensive system, and Witherspoon is one of the foundational pieces. He is not just an excellent cover defender. He gives the coaching staff the freedom to rotate coverages, disguise blitzes, and confuse opposing quarterbacks. In other words, his presence expands the entire tactical playbook of the defense. When a player delivers that kind of impact, investing in him becomes a strategic priority. If this extension gets done, the Seahawks will secure for years to come a defender who brings elite talent, leadership, and a relentless competitive mindset. That will be crucial to preserving the defensive identity that has become one of the team's greatest strengths. Now let's talk about Sam Darnold, because the decision surrounding the quarterback says a lot about John Schneider's roster-building philosophy. Darnold's journey has been one of the NFL's most compelling comeback stories. After struggling early in his career, he rebuilt his reputation, regained confidence, and seized the opportunity to prove he could still be a high-level quarterback. Seattle bet on that resurgence, and the payoff was enormous. In his first season as the team starter, Darnold exceeded expectations, led the offense with poise, and helped the Seahawks win a championship with one of the most balanced rosters in football. After that kind of season, many fans expected an extension to be announced immediately. But the front office chose a different path. Dan Graziano of ESPN reported that the organization believes Darnold is already being paid appropriately for his current market value. He still has 2 years remaining on his deal and carries a cap figure that allows Seattle to remain highly competitive without overcommitting financially. That is the core of John Schneider's strategy. The Seahawks are willing to invest at quarterback, but they avoid dedicating an outsized portion of the salary cap unless they are dealing with a truly generational talent. The logic is simple and highly effective. When one contract consumes too many resources, it becomes much harder to maintain depth and quality across the roster. But when the team gets top-tier performance at a more manageable price, it creates room to strengthen the offensive line, defense, special teams, and overall depth. That is exactly what happened in Seattle. Financial flexibility allowed the franchise to build a deep and competitive roster at multiple positions. The result was a balanced, physical football team capable of winning in any situation. That does not mean Sam Darnold is not valued. Quite the opposite. The organization fully recognizes his leadership, development, and impact. But from the front office's perspective, there is no urgency to rush into a new extension. If he continues to play at a high level, Seattle can revisit a new deal at the right time. Until then, the team maintains stability at quarterback while preserving the cap flexibility needed to keep strengthening the roster. And that flexibility brings us to the third major topic of this video. Even after winning it all, the Seahawks remain active, searching for opportunities that make sense both on the field and financially. That approach has always been one of John Schneider's greatest strengths. Over the years, the general manager has consistently found value in under-the-radar moves. Whether through the draft, undrafted free agents, or overlooked veterans, Seattle has a long track record of identifying players who can contribute without requiring massive investments. One name that stands out as an intriguing option is Antonio Gibson. Gibson is an extremely versatile player. Throughout his career, he has shown the ability to run between the tackles, catch passes out of the backfield, and contribute on special teams. That skill set makes him a valuable piece in an offense that thrives on creativity and multiplicity. The Seahawks already have a solid backfield led by Zach Charbonnet and supported by several young options. Because of that, Gibson would not be brought in to become the featured back or the centerpiece of the offense. The goal would be to add a complementary weapon capable of expanding the offense's options. Gibson can contribute on third downs, checkdowns, screens, and formations where the running back motions into the slot or out wide. That kind of versatility forces defenses to adjust coverages, creates mismatches, and gives the quarterback a reliable outlet when pressure arrives. His experience as a returner could also provide immediate value on special teams. When a player can contribute in multiple phases of the game, his value becomes even more attractive. And that is exactly the kind of move that has traditionally made sense in Seattle. This would not be the type of signing that dominates national headlines. But it is precisely the kind of addition that strengthens roster depth and gives the coaching staff more ways to attack opponents. In a league as long and physically demanding as the NFL, having versatile and experienced players can make a huge difference over the course of a season. And that is exactly why this potential move is so interesting. When you step back and connect these three storylines, the bigger picture becomes crystal clear. Seattle is working to keep the core of its defense intact with Devin Witherspoon, preserving financial flexibility by avoiding a rush decision with Sam Darnold, and continuing to explore the market for players who can make this roster even stronger. None of this is happening by accident. There is a clear and consistent plan in motion. The Seahawks are not acting like a team that is satisfied with what it has already accomplished. Quite the opposite. This organization is showing the same hunger that took it to the top of the NFL. The message could not be clearer. Seattle wants to keep competing at the highest level, maintain its defensive identity, preserve financial balance, and continue adding talent whenever the right opportunity appears. That is exactly the mindset that separates winning organizations. Championship teams do not stand still, they anticipate moves, protect their core players, and constantly search for ways to get better. And that is exactly what we are seeing in Seattle right now. If Devin Witherspoon signs the extension everyone expects, the defense will remain anchored by one of the best and most complete players at his position. If Sam Darnold continues playing at this level, the offense will remain stable without compromising the financial structure of the roster. And if John Schneider finds another smart addition on the open market, the Seahawks could enter next season even stronger than they already are. All of that helps explain why there is so much optimism surrounding this team. Every sign points to an organization that knows exactly what it is doing, a franchise that understands the value of its stars, a front office with a long-term vision, and a roster that is still evolving. Now I want to hear from you 12s. Would you pay whatever it takes to keep Devin Witherspoon in Seattle for years to come? Do you agree with the decision to wait before discussing a new extension for Sam Darnold? And do you think Antonio Gibson would be a smart addition to bring even more versatility to this offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to know what you think. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Seattle Seahawks news. There is a lot happening in Seattle right now, and it feels like this team is still nowhere near its ceiling. The organization continues to move with intelligence, ambition, and a clear long-term vision. And if this plan keeps working, the 12s have every reason to believe that the future in Seattle could be even more special. We're in this together, 12s. Go Hawks!